Ashley, thank you so much for giving us that insight on the ethical sales communication program that you have. Now you have a newsletter, and this newsletter is weekly, and I subscribe to it, and I think it always contains valuable information. In fact, if there's one thing you're going to do on Ashley's website is sign up to the newsletter and tell all your friends about the newsletter. Every week you give up so much information. Now the readers are important to you, and that's why I know we went to your readers and we asked them, do they have any questions that they want answered, especially on video, so they can watch it over and over again, get their answers. So we've got about 8 key questions to ask you from your readers.
Okay.
The first one is, what would you say are the common mistakes dentists make in their communication with their patients?
Okay. Well, there's several mistakes I find dentists make with the communication, and they're in no particular order. But one of them is not spending enough time building rapport with the patient.
Okay.
Really not spending the time to get them to know as a person, finding out a bit about them. Often when we have dentists who take my program and I speak to them after, and they say, look, I'm spending more time building rapport, and they tell me more things I didn't know. And they've been a patient for 20 years. I've learned more in one appointment than having the previous 20 years put together.
What about if you're on the NHS, and...
Well, again, I say to dentists when they go back, you're only in National Health Service, but, make each appointment just 2 or 3 minutes longer. Just spend a little bit more time.
You normally spend about 10 to 15 minutes?
Yeah, just extend it, and amazing things will happen. The second mistake I find dentists make is that they tend to present the solution to the patient without first finding out the patient's wants and needs.
Okay.
And often they will do this because they make assumptions about the patients. They prejudge the patient often by what they're wearing, where they live, what job they might have. I'll give you a perfect example. Very recently I was watching a consultation, and the patient came into the surgery. Dentist asked a couple of quick questions, and the patient said, I'd be really interested in having orthodontic treatment, but depending on the cost, depending what the cost is.
Right, the patient said that?
Yeah, the patient said that, and straight away the dentist launched into the payment plans, how much it would be over 5 years interest-free. Yeah, but no questions were asked to find out why she wanted the treatment, what was her interest, how she could, tell him more detail. She made the assumption that the cost was the major issue, and it wasn't. Because of that.
So even though the patient said the word cost.
Well, only one question was asked.
Right.
The patient spent 45 seconds explaining that she'd be interested because she never kept the retainers on when she was a child. And because of that, she mentioned the word cost, and the dentist launched straight into a payment plan.
Picked up the cost.
Absolutely. Right. No questions were asked about why she wanted it, what her goals were, what caused her interest, what type of brace she was looking for. Straight away selling the payment plan. Right. Third thing I find dentists do on an ongoing basis is they talk too technical. They go on these technical courses, which are, I've sat in some of these technical courses myself, and they come back and they share the technical jargon they've learnt in the course with the patient. Yeah. Well, the patient doesn't go on the same course as the dentist. They're not been in the same room together. So the language they use, unless they're an engineer, school teacher, or in a technical job, will completely switch the patient off. Sure. So, they talk too technical, and patients buy benefits, they buy emotionally, and they don't buy the technical. And another area, and it's difficult to go into with only the short time we've got here, but I find dentists and team members, they find it challenging to close or ask the patient if they want to go ahead with the treatment. Yeah. So, they're not particularly good at gaining commitment. And what happens is, because of that, patients are, go away and think about it, and that happens all the time, and that's what patients will do.
So we're talking about the question was about the most common mistakes, right? Yeah. That dentists make in communicating with patients. So you said number 1 was time, not spending enough time.
To build in rapport.
Yep. Number 2, making assumptions.
Yeah, providing solutions to the patient without first truly fully understanding what their wants and needs are. Right. And that involves deep questioning and really deep listening.
Right. So listening, obviously building the rapport, listening, getting the time to build a rapport, and listening. Yeah. And the third aspect, jargon and talking technical.
Too technical. Yeah.
Okay. And then the close, really.
Yeah. Okay. There could be some sort of commitment
Yeah.
I'm not into hard closing. I'm totally against it completely. I don't want to preach this, and it's very difficult to get this over just in the first few seconds.
Asking the question, just assuming they won't even take up treatment and saying, okay, think about it.
Yeah.
So telling a patient to go away.
Yeah. And that's what
Why don't you think about it?
That's what they'll do.
Right. Okay. Why do they do that? Why would I, number one, first of all, not want to spend enough time with you? Number two, make assumptions about the fact that you can't afford treatment.
Yeah.
And then talk technical so you don't even understand it. And then at the end, tell you to think about it.
Yeah. Well, can I just say one thing in defense of dentists? They weren't taught these skills at dentistry school. They weren't taught these skills at dentistry school. You know, there's I'm not sure of the actual figures, but what dentists tell me that there's no hours spent on communication skills. Yeah. And it's communication skills which are the most important skills of them all. You know, if you can't.
And they're taught not to spend time with patients.
And they're taught, yeah.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much for sharing that.
No problem.